Hello, I'm Miles McIntyre, and I chose The New Negro. The New Negro was a new generation of African Americans after Reconstruction that refused to give in to racial inequalities, such as Jim Crow. They were a new class of African Americans that broke out of typical racial roles. Many of them were wealthy and educated in contrast and impoverished and uneducated predecessors. Although they faced the same obstacles in mainstream America, they started to find their own ways to succeed in society. They had renaissances in a lot of northern cities. The most notable were the Harlem Renaissance, where a lot of great African American writers, scholars, and musicians came to collaborate together. And the New Negro, it was popularized by Alain LeRoy Locke, and in his essays, he talked about how do I say it, how the African, the West Indian, the Negro American came to one place and found each other to give ideas that all three had their own different goals and aspirations, but they also had one main goal together. It was to fight the prejudice that they faced from white America. And doing so, that's called the New Negro. In my own experiences, in my opinion, I believe the New Negro is something that an African American experience for his own, such as, from my personal experience, my family. My grandfather served in the Korean War and Vietnam War, and when serving overseas, he had much more freedom and gained more respect from foreigners than here in America. And when he came back, he wanted the same things for his children and grandchildren, so he pushed education that he really wanted us to have. So he pushed that to his kids, and my mother, which is an educator, pushed that on to me. And my father also served in the military, so I lived overseas and I got to see the outside world from an African American's point of view into a foreign land. So when I came back to the States, I would have the outside world view and the inside world view of America. And not a lot of African Americans here would have that. So that's my intake on it. But anyways, the New Negro, again, it was portrayed by Alain Locke, and what he was trying to say is that the African Americans of the new generation did not want to go quietly to Jim Crow, and that they would do anything to be self-determined and not be aided by the white man in that process.